Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Artix Foundation's Friday dedication to Minority Mental Health Month. I'm excited to be able to deliver this program, which is specifically focused on having conversations between mothers and daughters. I'm Dr. Angela Reddix, and I'm the founder of Artix, and Artix Foundation is our nonprofit arm that we focus completely on shining the light on mental wellness. We want to remove the stigma associated with getting mental help. You know, I love the concept of going to a counselor. And that's something that in our community, we don't talk enough about. People don't think that that is something that they should do for many reasons. And most of it is just culturally from our ancestors, et cetera, that hasn't been something that has been seen as acceptable in our community. But I tell you, I enjoy sitting on someone else's couch and having them focus completely on me. Having someone who's not connected to any parts of anyone that I know that can be completely neutral and hear me out. I liken that to the same attention I get when someone's massaging my head when I get my hair done, when I get pedicures. I mean, just that kind of focused attention. You know, as a mother, as a wife, as an employer, as a business owner, as a community leader, I spend so much time focusing on others. And so I feel that having that time that's dedicated to just level setting me, that's a gift to myself. And so I just encourage others to look at it that way. You know, I hear people talking about taking vitamin C to prevent a cold. And I just tell you that it is the same thing, that getting in touch with the counselor, getting to know them when things are somewhat normal. You know, we all hit a wall at some point due to stress, due to different things. We hit a wall. And it's so important to have someone that knew you when you were balanced. And so they can tell you, okay, so here's the trigger. And you start to learn more and more about yourself before there's a problem. So I will tell you, I don't believe it's ever too late, but I also believe it's never too early to, just like you take care of your physical health, be sure to give the attention to your mental health. And so I am delighted to have some other women who represents the mother-daughter relationship. And we're going to talk about how we're navigating this thing called mental health in the face of what we're all dealing with, which is social injustice. So I'm going to turn it over to another fellow mother, Mitzi Glass, for her introduction. Mitzi?
All righty. Thank you, Dr. Angela. I appreciate that introduction. That was a nice segue into what I'm going to say. So I'm Mitzi Glass. I'm a licensed clinical social worker and a clinical supervisor, and I am more than thrilled to be here with you all today. About a month or so ago, I was faced with a situation where it really got me to thinking about racism and injustice in the community, in the workplace. And I started thinking, how have I prepared my daughter or not prepared my daughter for what she will face in her future? So I called Dr. Angela and I said, how can we have this conversation? What can we do? And so she immediately said, let's do what we're doing today. I am very much an advocate for taking care of your mental health. I work with adults, I work with a lot of adolescent women who are struggling with self-esteem and depression and anxiety. And it's an honor to be part of their lives in terms of their treatment, especially in these times that we're having now with racism and social injustice, and COVID has been another layer of anxiety and depression for a lot of the young people I see. So I'm excited to be here today. My daughter and I are the co-owners of Mother to Daughter. Our tagline is Rewriting the Journey. I'm very proud of that and excited about that, and just an honor to be here today to talk about social injustice with our daughters. So thank you.
Yes, and Mitzi has been a phenomenal board member and friend to the Artix Foundation. She's been very involved with just increasing awareness, not only here locally in the Hampton Roads area, but the things that we're able to do that go beyond our area. And this platform is exactly one of those tools that allows us to connect with you all in California, you all in Texas, Florida, etc. Mitzi, thank you for all that you do. So we have some special guests. Our daughters, what a delight to be able to share the platform with our daughters. And so I'll let you all jump in. Whoever wants to jump in first with your introduction. Brittany.
So I am Brittany Gainey, the daughter of Mitzi Glass extraordinaire. I currently work as the mental health support specialist in Harnett County Schools. It's a newly designed position. I'm very excited about it because we're bringing awareness to mental health, and we are trying to do what social justice says, is to make the playing field equal for all of our students regarding their access to mental health and also receiving very competent and invaluable services. So I'm excited about this discussion. I think it's something that's really important during this time. And I think it's something that hopefully other people will learn something from and that they will carry it with them on their journeys as well. So thank you guys so much for having me. I'm really excited.
Well, welcome, Brittany. And then Nissa.
Hi, everyone. My name is Anissa Reddix, and I am the daughter of Dr. Angela Reddix. I am the program manager at Envision Lead Grow, and we are a 501c3 nonprofit working to ensure that girls across the country from underserved communities are introduced to entrepreneurship, and they're able to use it as a tool to transform communities of poverty into communities of prosperity. So I'm really excited to be a part of this discussion because, as Brittany said, leveling the playing field is something that's very important to me as well. So I think it's going to be a great conversation.
All right, so let's dig in. Mitzi, you know, this was your brainchild, and I'm just delighted that I could assist in making it happen. But I think at the heart of what the conversation really was about is, what is our understanding of social injustice? What does that mean to all of us? So Anissa, what does social injustice mean to you?
Well, I believe that social injustice occurs when individuals are treated differently or limited due to a group or belonging or an identity of theirs that causes them to be excluded or treated differently, or opportunity to be taken away from them or not provided. I think that's when social injustice is occurring.
It's really, I love that because it really speaks to what social justice is. So social justice, and I went and just looked at the pure definition, and it means that, I'm gonna read it, that I believe that social justice says that all people, regardless of race, ethnicity, gender preference, or gender, have equal rights for economic, political, social opportunities. That so in the words that I say, everybody deserves a shot.
You all brought up a key concept, and I want to read this, that I think sometimes we may not break down that we don't really mean everyone should be treated exactly the same, because I want to talk about equity versus equality.
Yes, yes, yes.
Need for us to understand, if we all don't start at the same line, if we're starting 10 miles behind, the opportunity to get to the finish line on time, we might can get there, but it's going to take almost a miracle to get us there. So I want to read equity versus equality and talk a little bit about that. Equity is giving everyone what they need to be successful. Equality is treating everyone the same. Equality aims to promote fairness, but it can only work if everyone starts from the same place and needs the same help. That's leveling the playing field.
Right. Right.
And so I'm wondering, in your walk, has there been a time, perhaps in school, perhaps in your jobs, where you've seen the difference because of where you're starting, or maybe some of your peers have started. I mean, you have two things you're dealing with. You're a woman, and you're African American. So when you take those two pieces and through the lens of equality versus equity, what kind of experiences have you seen where you see the playing field was not quite leveled?
I think that especially being on a college campus, I went to the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, and that is a predominantly white institution, and not just a predominantly white institution. It is a historic university in a southern state that really embraces Southern culture. I mean, North Carolina is very proud of its heritage and loved my experience, loved the university, but something that I witnessed is, as far as my African American peers went, I was one of few who had two parents who went to college before me. And more than that, I have a grandparent that went to college. So college wasn't necessarily a foreign concept for me. However, for many, many, many of my classmates and my peers, they were first generation college students. And even more than just being a first generation college student, to get into college, to think about college, to go through the process, that in itself is very difficult if people at home aren't able to help you and they don't really know the steps. They don't know what it takes. What I notice is even when you get there, it's a whole new world and you don't have anyone to ask or who can help you at home figure out why it feels so different. And then you look at the media and there aren't many depictions of Black students at college. And until very recently, when there was, a different world was the main kind of outline that we had, and that was at a HBCU. So their experiences did not look like the experience of being the one Black person in an all-white classroom. You couldn't watch that and it tell you what that would feel like. It did have a lot of things that were useful as far as just understanding what college is like, but to really speak to our experience, that it did not. And so for us, the experiences of being in the classroom, of walking past statues that are dedicated to Confederate soldiers, of being in classrooms named after Confederate soldiers, of having to stomach all of that, of being looked at by our peers as the affirmative action candidate, and that's the reason why you're in the classroom, and that's the only reason why you have value here. That's what you're bringing to the table. And really feeling like the administration isn't trying to change that narrative or support you through it. That was really kind of an equality versus equity of like, yes, you let us in, but now that we're here, are you ensuring that we feel like we hold the same weight at the table as our white peers? Are you ensuring that we feel as welcome here as they do? No, that's not really something that they're putting a lot of energy into, because the point is you're here, we have our stats up, we're able to say that we let X amount of number of students in, and that's what we agreed to. So that was probably one of the biggest eye-openers of the difference between equality and equity for me.
Right, so I went to North Carolina A&T State University in Greensboro, so maybe about an hour from UNC Chapel Hill. And so I remember when we actually went on the tour for the university, and the person that was doing the tour, he said, this is your last time that you'll actually be part of the majority and not the minority. And so that statement stuck with me, and that was one of the reasons I chose to go to A&T. And I loved my experience. I loved seeing Black and brown people from different walks of life. We all had different perspectives. It was very nurturing, very supportive. However, when we graduated, that's when you saw the difference, so we felt like, we were all that in a bag of chips, we performed well in the classroom, we had all these leadership roles, but then after we graduated, some of that stuff didn't matter. All of a sudden you were Black, you were a woman or a male, and that was it. That's all that people saw. Even just to say, I went to North Carolina A&T, I went to a HBCU, that brought you lower on the totem pole, even though there was so much pride in that. And we were so proud of that. For others, they didn't see it like that.
That is, I love this contrast. Let's dig into this. This is deep right here. And so I have a question for you. As we talk about equality, some of it is perception, right? And so I wonder, how much of it is what others how others view HBCUs versus how we view HBCUs.
That's good.
And so, Brittany, I'm wondering, and Anissa, really, the talk on the street, when you're talking, and Missy, this is kind of going to what have we done right, and what as mothers could we do differently in bringing pride to our own?
It's a really interesting question, because my mom did not go to a HBCU. You know, and so I went to homecoming with my mom, which was not at a HBCU. You know, I went on a college tour with my aunt to go to other schools that included an HBCU, but that's not what my mom kind of drove into me, to HBCU. Now for my kids currently, you're going to A&T. Why? Because you don't have a choice. You have to go to A&T. So, you know, they know about HBCUs, but I don't think growing up, you know, that term wasn't, you know, a primary part of conversation. So I knew about like Norfolk State, and I knew about Hampton, but I did not know about them in the term of HBCU. I knew that they were just colleges around here, and a lot of Black people went there. But I think that the conversation that we have after we attend help bring value to them. I think, you know, talking about giving back to my university, I think helps bring value to them. And, you know, just walking in that pride, no matter what people say after you graduate, helps to bring the value back to HBCUs. And then to also know that HBCU is also very diverse. You know, so, and to say that Black people, we're not to be put in a box, you know, so just because I'm going to HBCU with a lot of other Black people doesn't mean that they're going to have the same perspective as me. You know, they're all going to be different in their style. They're going to be different, like I said, in their opinions. They're going to be different in their sexual orientations. They come from, you know, different states, different countries, you know, so it's still a melting pot. You know, and I think people say, well, you know, you can go to a PWI and you'll get that diversity, you'll get that melting pot, but you'll get the same thing at an HBCU as well.
Well, I tell you, speaking as a graduate, undergrad, PWI, James Madison University, I absolutely loved my experience. And I will say that what I noticed, let me just speak from my experience, and then I saw this also in Anissa's experience a bit. We as a people, boy, we know how to create home wherever we are.
Yes, yes.
We are a people of such great tenacity, and we, honestly, it was a PWI, but we had such a strong Black Student Alliance that it was a school within a school. And, I tell people all the time, I found my voice on the heels of James Madison University. The relationships that I formed there are relationships that I know changed my perspective on so many things. And so I do know that we have the ability, we've learned to be comfortable in the uncomfortable.
Yes, yes, yes.
And I think that that tenacity really is what we have leveraged. Many of us who have been successful in our career, we've leveraged that by finding home wherever we are. So I'd love to talk about the importance, you know, so Anissa is our oldest, and then we have two younger who are both now in high school. And so one thing that my takeaway is, I have to be honest with you, I didn't have a lot of conversations with Anissa about HBCUs. I didn't. Honestly, I was having conversations all day, every day about James Madison University. Both she and her father and I graduated from James Madison University. So in my mind, she was supposed to be a Duke, okay? So I wouldn't talk about anything else. But I will say that I see life very differently now. I actually teach at an HBCU. I have determined that that is where I'm going to pour my energy, my time, and my resources into, and therefore I think they're having a different experience because of, you know, my experience. But one thing that I think is really important is that we understand the value of creating our own table.
Yes, yes.
So often we are pushing and and stressing and just trying to get a seat at that table. And, I have spent, my whole dissertation is about creating our table through middle school girls creating entrepreneurship opportunities. And so I want to talk about, and when we talk about social justice, equity, and equality, as we said, equity is about creating, and equality is about creating the opportunities and treating people differently based on, they may need a little jump start because of where they're coming from. And so I want to talk about the notion of entrepreneurship being one tool, economic development and creating this social justice.
Well, I totally agree. Brittany and I talk about this a lot, that when you have your own, then you can not just be at a table, you have created your own table, and you get to have the opportunity to invite people to your table. So it really changes what social justice looks like, because I'm now in that position. That's why Brittany and I formulated Mother to Daughter. Now, to be honest, have we done a whole lot with Mother to Daughter? No, we really haven't. However, I wanted to make sure that I was able to create something that even if I cannot pour into it, it'll be there for her, and that she understands that you can have something of your own, that you can take your gifts and your talents and you can pour into that, so that other people, so it's not just about us, it's I am because we are, and really making sure that I take my gifts and talents and pour it into somebody else. So I believe in legacy building. And I think that entrepreneurship is the vehicle towards that.
I think that it's really exciting because this next generation has more exposure and understanding and knowledge than any generation before them. I mean, they have so many things at their fingertips, that the ideas that they come up with, the problems that they want to solve through their businesses are really just leaps and bounds above what I anticipated. And so I feel like we're definitely in good hands, and I'm excited at the prospect of working with these girls who will be, many of them first generation college students, who will be the wealth creators in their family, who will start a new chapter or start a new storyline of legacy for their family, and just knowing that they're determined to make the difference. They're determined to not just create a business for themselves, but to light a spark in their communities and create change around them and solve problems throughout the world. So I think that it's really exciting, and a privilege to be able to be a part of their stories and to be a part of their trajectory. So I'm definitely feeling hopeful about the next generation and really what they are capable of.
So Brittany, what are your thoughts on creating legacy through entrepreneurship?
This is the first time I've actually ever thought about my LCSW. So I became a licensed clinical social worker officially in 2012. I started pursuing my license in 2010, and it wasn't something that originally I was interested in getting, but I knew after I got it, it would give me the opportunity to work independently and work for myself. And so this past school year, I had my first intern in the school system, and I think about how much that meant for her and how my license created an opportunity for other people, because that's something you can't take from me. And during that time, I was the only LCSW in my particular school system. So this is my table. You guys can't tell me anything about my table. You can't take my table from me. And I own who comes to this table and how we operate in this space here. And so that was really meaningful for me. And especially because my intern was this Black girl from this rural county, and I was able to pour into her so she's able to pour into others. And I think when we think about legacy building, it's not just people in your family, in your immediate group. You have to think bigger than that. You have to think about the people who come after you in your content area, so you can build them and help produce something in them that, they'll be greater for society.
Yes, Brittany, think about all the shoulders we stand on.
Mm-hmm.
And we have the opportunity now to create, I say, broad shoulders so that interns, oh, I love it. Interns are standing on. I get so, one of the proudest thing, I love being a mother. I'm very proud of being a mother. I'm very proud of being a wife. I'm very proud of being an employer.
Mm-hmm.
That I have the opportunity, whether everyone agrees with me or not, I have the opportunity to provide livelihoods for people. And when I think of livelihoods, I don't think about just that they're getting income. I'm talking about they are creating life and they're living, meaning they are able to learn, they're able to grow, they're able to be productive citizens. And there's a lot of sacrifices that goes along with being an employer. Oh my goodness, a lot that comes with that. But when I sit back, and I love looking out at the water, when I sit back and I look out of the water, and I can say that because of the effort, because of the sacrifice, people are learning skills, people are building their resume, people are, all of that. That takes some broad shoulders to do that. And so I'm very grateful that it's something that I can leverage, others can leverage in order to create tomorrow. And as I think about Envisionly Grow and the 1,000 girls, that regardless if they stay with the program forever, the reality is the moment they're introduced to us, we have made an impact on their life. And the fact that 1,000 people have said, yes, I want you to be a page or a chapter in my book, that's an honor. And I wonder if we all understand the honor we have, the opportunity to have the honor to impact people in that way. So I commend you for what you poured into that African-American intern, and that, my goodness, seeing your license as the opportunity to create that table, that space, that's your space, that you get to say who, what, when, how. High five, go girl. That is, oh, I just get chills just thinking about what you're doing. So ladies, I would like to know, Mitzi, and this is, let me know if you want to know this, because it might be a tough pill for us mamas to swallow. But have we demonstrated social justice for you all? Have we demonstrated how to navigate this world, how to navigate corporate America, how to navigate your relationships in a way that like what the textbook says about social justice?
Go ahead, Brittany.
I was gonna say, I remember as a kid, something you always would say is like, Brittany, you always want people to do the right thing. You always want people to do the right thing. Because I was always speaking up and I was always getting upset about different things. And so he's like, you just always want to do the right thing, but everyone doesn't think like you. I'm like, well, that's true. Now, you didn't take it a lot further than that as I got older, but those words always resonated with me. And I think now when I can actually process some of that stuff and seeing your actions at work and your actions in your community, I think you are definitely modeling how to be an advocate for equal rights for everyone. But I think more importantly, equal rights for yourself. Advocating for yourself, I think, helps me understand how to advocate for myself and then advocate for others. Because if I can't speak up for me, it's going to be very difficult for me to speak up for others. So I think, as a single parent mom, having multiple jobs, I didn't see it as multiple streams of income. I saw it as my mom was always working and she's sitting in these chorus concerts with her newspaper in the air because she's trying to do so many different things, but that's doing things for yourself, or you're staying late at work, so you can make sure that you have a presence where you work. You know, I'm not just here, but I have a presence, I have a voice. Like those things, I think you are modeling to me how to do what I need to do now.
Lovely, Brittany. All right, what you got, Nessa? What you got?
Yes, I want to echo what you said, Brittany. I think that's my thinking of how you taught me how to advocate for myself and how to advocate for others. I think that you've always walked a path of ensuring that your voice is heard, and that your ideas are heard. And that's something that I've seen you do my whole life, and something that I've tried to emulate and tried to incorporate in my walk. But more importantly, I think you've also demonstrated that, kind of live as you climb mentality. So even as you're creating opportunities for yourself, like always being conscientious of how you can create opportunities for others, and how you can ensure that those around you who maybe don't have the same blessings that we have are able to still rise above. And that's something that I think with social justice, yes, there's laws and there's policy and there's grand social change, but there's also the actions that each of us make every day, the actions that we do and the way that we treat others and the way that we demonstrate that regardless of your differences from me, you are still valued and you are still worthy of opportunity and worthy of success and worthy of happiness and worthy of love, and showing that through our actions. So I think that I definitely learned that from you, and it's something that I strive to execute in my walk and to teach others as well.
Well, Mitzi, I think our job, I'd like to say it's done. I think motherhood, our job is never done.
Mm-hmm.
But so far, pretty good. I give us a B+. What you think, ladies? Give us a B+. Give us a B+. We still have work to do. It's never over. But listen, it was delightful having this time. I tell you, the time just went by so quickly. But I think this is just, the start of a great discussion.
Yes.
There's so many layers to this, and we want to just provide just some broad strokes, light strokes, as we discuss this information. We all are looking at current events through the lenses that we have each individually based on where we are today. And I'd like to be to see life through the lens of hope, and the lens of the opportunity for change.
Yes.
I'm seeing some change all around me. Sure, some things aren't happening as quickly as I would like, but I would say to everyone, the power of conversation is just amazing.
Yes.
Sharing our stories and helping each other cope with both the health issues we have with the pandemic, the economic issues that we have with the pandemic, and the stress that has been brought on even more due to some of the social injustices, specifically racism, that we are just face to face with. And I would say to everyone, as we close out the month of July, Minority Mental Health Month, that we all make a commitment to be the light for our friends, be the light for our neighbors, that when we see something, say something, and normalize the conversation around needing help. Don't let someone climb all the way up to the top of the wall before we say, hey, let me help you. And these days, because we aren't really going out much, telehealth, you could do it just from your computer. You don't even have to go out. And so I'm wondering, Brittany, in your profession, Mitzi, in your profession, are you seeing more telehealth services in mental health?
Absolutely. All the patients that I see I'm doing telehealth. And I love it because I get to see them in their safe zone, so it's not in the sterile office. Sometimes I might see somebody who's sitting in their car because that's their safe place. So absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, and I was going to say, in addition to the telehealth, I see a lot of mental health professionals using their voice more, so you're not constricted to just an office from 8 to 5, you're in your home 24 hours. And so you can use your voice to reach not just one person in counseling or therapy. You can use your voice to, reach 1,000 people like you guys are doing in the matter of a few hours. And so I think that is starting to erase the stigma, because people are realizing that, counseling and therapy is a safe place. And it's also with everyday people who just have the ability to untangle your slinky.
Right. Well, that's all for today. I wish you all well and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.